Good morning, this is EMHB News, and today we are going to dive into the topic of the American dream.
Many Americans have different definitions of the dream, but one thing that can be made certain is that money plays a significant role in how one can live their American dream.
Hi guys, it's Mr. Etoro. Is that if the person is motivated enough to bet on themselves, to pay some money out of pocket up front, you may need to go into a little bit of debt.
Hi, my name is Casey Ruhoff. Personally, I think if you work hard enough and make enough money to feel successful in your own eyes, that is living the dream, is being able to provide for your family. That money is in fact necessary for the American dream.
The traditional American dream, which is the white picket fence, 2 kids, and a dog, you needed to have money, which requires a successful job and also a steady income.
Go into a little bit of debt. I myself went into debt, but I bet on myself to get a job in the career that I wanted it to be in.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Miller. The American dream requires money. If you think about what the American dream is or represents, that it represents security in terms of finances. So the ability to pay for the things that you need, that's food, housing, transportation, and beyond that, even work in a field that you feel personally satisfied and fulfilled in.
Opinion, I have started living the American dream.
Today we will be discussing how much money is money equally accessible to everyone, and why does money play the main role in the American dream?
Today we have Madison Clucky joining us to share some insight to our questions live in Ohio.
Hello MHB, thanks for having me. There is no question that the cost of living in America has gone up since the past. Almost everything is a lot more involved in this modern era, and with this comes a vast dynamic of living. Over the past century, America has been evolving, and with this comes a change in the outlook of the American dream. In 2016, the typical average middle-class household's income was $78,442. Compare this, while the upper class had a median income of $187,872, with the lower class at $25,624. As you can see, the median income for each class has varied significantly, and some of these are barely sustainable. According to the National Association of Realtors, the U.S. median income increased from $284,600 to $295,300 in 2020 over the span of 1 month. Furthermore, the middle class income range in 2016 stretched from $45,200 to $135,600, with the lower class making less and the upper class making more. Because the median upper class income was 2.4 times greater than the middle class and 7.3 times that of the lower class, it makes one question if everyone has equal accessibility to money and if the divide is fair.
Today we have a very special guest joining us. Hi Brendan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What is your opinion on jobs in regards to the American dream, and is college necessary?
As we think about the American dream, one factor that plays a major role is jobs, with the discussion of whether or not college is the right step for everyone. Many believe it is, however, in 2018, 27% of college graduates worked in a field related to their major. This begs the question, although college offers high-skilled jobs that pay a lot more, many are saying the debt left isn't worth it, and is better off starting ahead without it. It is really up to everyone to decide for themselves if college is worth it. I believe college should not be decided upon a roll of dice, and I think this needs to be reevaluated.
Next we have a very special guest joining us to talk about their home life. This is Rose. By herself, she was able to raise 1 child and 2 nephews, but as of right now, she is living alone, living in a small apartment. Rose lives paycheck to paycheck working 4 jobs. Despite her best efforts, she barely makes enough to make ends meet. And every week seems to be a new struggle.
There were some job opportunities that came along that were financially going to put me in a much better position, but I was the sole person for my daughter, so that was something I always had to consider. Some people really did say, well, you know, you're a single parent and you're her sole provider, and you don't really have the right to say that you're going to take a job that pays less money. And I saw it very differently. I saw it as, you know, she needs me, she needs the money, she needs the security, there's no question, but she needs me too.
Growing up, Rose lived a normal life in a middle-class family up until the age of 16, where her family hit hard times. Throughout Rose's adulthood, she was able to persevere and make a living. However, she was not prepared for what was to come.
I did manage to get a job working teaching community classes, and even though it was full-time in the sense that it was certainly more than 40 hours a week, but it was hourly, so there were no benefits.
Before Rose lived on her own, she attended a local college but lost her job later after the recession and has had trouble finding a new job. She decided to attend college a second time, but that did not help her in the long run.
Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and studying for 4 hours before I started work and went to school, because I couldn't do it in the evening with Layla because I had to be with Layla and I had to make dinner and we had to do her homework. There were times when, grocery shopping where, we would get up to the counter and I would realize that we didn't have the money to get what we needed to get.
Rose also suffers from a medical condition that could appear randomly each year that she does not have any medical insurance to pay for, which sets her back whenever it
We eat a lot of
occurs.
cheap food, and when you eat a lot of cheap food, it's not good for your health. And what are you going to do? The kids come home and they're hungry, and ramen noodle is pretty darn cheap. The problem is, MS is like living with a sleeping monster. It can always wake back up.
You will have medical expenses from it at some point.
Sure, and I have in the past, and I will in the future, no question. And I don't have insurance right now, so.
She's had jobs that provided insurance in the past, and more recently she had been relying on Obamacare.
But I managed to make an extra $4,000 last year, and for the prize for that was being told that I was no longer eligible for any form of real subsidies in health insurance-wise.
Your income rose just enough.
Just enough.
To cancel out or to
Yes.
cut you off from subsidies that would have helped.
Yes. And that's the story of my life, by the way. That's when you're in the middle, when you're in the low middle like that, that's the story of your life. But if something were to happen to my job tomorrow, if something were to happen to any of these jobs tomorrow, I would be facing homelessness by the end of the month.
When's the last time you had a vacation?
What do you mean by vacation?
Disney World, Las Vegas,
No,
trip to Boston.
no.
Have you ever been on an airplane?
3 times.
When's the last time?
When Layla was about 6 months old.
What's the last thing you splurged on?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll do that with food every now and then. Like I'll buy myself lunch every now and then instead of making it. I only shop in thrift stores. So the other day I spent $12.50 on some new shorts and some, I think this shirt. Splurge is what you make of it. I don't have the money to splurge. I have to find different ways to treat myself.
One thing can be made for certain is that despite the hardships, Rose is still able to keep a smile on her face and stay positive.
Did you think it was going to be this difficult?
No. No.
Although many people work hard, some still struggle to make ends meet. Everyone defines the American dream differently, but one thing every American dream has in common is money.
Almost every action today requires some form of money to be able to do. For example, if you want to travel or go somewhere, you need a plane ticket or a car and money for gas and so on.
Many believe that the Americans should be required to have a minimum standard of living. This introduces us to the Green New Deal. This is just one idea Congress has to help those like Rose who struggle to make it by.
It's not that they don't want to work, they are working hard, except their best attempts don't lead them to where they want to be.
Millions of people are living in worse or common conditions similar to Rose. The Green New Deal would help those like Rose to have a minimum standard of living, to be comfortable with the idea of at least having a roof over their heads.
Because money plays such an important role in the American dream, it is hard to do much without it.
Overall, one thing we learned from Rose's story is that it is important to stay positive no matter what position one is in, and the government should take action into helping those who work hard and cannot make ends meet.
This is EMHB News. Thanks for joining us today.